Hello, welcome to Simple IELTS. Today I will be discussing three types of essay in IELTS Writing Task 2, which are opinion, non-opinion, and a combination of opinion and non-opinion. First of all, I would like to provide you a brief explanation of what IELTS Writing Task 2 is. So essentially, it is essay writing. For example, we have to write down an essay about a topic. Modern lifestyle. Modern lifestyles mean that many parents have little time for their children. Many children suffer because they do not get as much attention from their parents as children did in the past. Do you agree or disagree? So, first there's a topic or statement, and then there's a question whether you agree or disagree with the statement or the topic. Also, there's an instruction that you have to give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge. And then there are two rules. First is that you only have 40 minutes to write down your essay, and then the second rule is the number of words that you have to write down is 250. Less than 250, you will lose your marks or scores. Okay, so let's get on to the business. The types of essay, there are three: opinion, non-opinion, and combination of opinion and non-opinion. So let's discuss the first type, opinion. So uh, as we saw already, it is as simple as we have to give our own opinion to a certain topic. So you can start by saying that I think that, or my view to this issue is that, and so on. So essentially, you have to give your opinion on the statement, whether you agree or disagree with it, and explain your reasons. Okay, so that's a brief explanation about the opinion type. And then there are some variations to this type of essay. First of all is the do you agree or disagree variation, like we already saw previously. And then the second one is the yes or no question. It normally starts with is it, should, or it can also be do the benefits outweigh the drawbacks, or do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So let me read the example for you. Many newspapers and magazines feature stories about the private lives of famous people. We know what they eat, where they buy their clothes, and who they love. We also often see pictures of them in private situations. The question is it appropriate for a magazine or a newspaper to give this kind of private information about famous people? So you can answer the question by saying it is appropriate, or no, it is not appropriate, blah blah blah, and so on. So it's a simple yes or no question. And you also have to provide your opinion. Why is it appropriate or why it is not appropriate? Okay, the third variation is do you agree or disagree, plus to what extent. Let me read the example. Some people believe that teaching children at home is best for a child's development, while others think that it is important for children to go to school. The question is, to what extent do you agree or disagree? So, what does to what extent mean? To what extent means how far do you agree or disagree? Basically, you can say whether you fully agree or partially agree, fully disagree, or partially disagree. But my recommendation is that just focus on fully agree or disagree with something. If you explain partially, agree or disagree, it will be more complicated for you, and it will be more difficult for you to write down your essay, okay? So how to deal with this question? Just ignore to what extent. Simple as that. And then the fourth variation is the two parts type, where there are two questions in this type. So let me read the example. Some people feel that certain workers like nurses, doctors, and teachers are undervalued and should be paid more, especially when other people like film actors or company bosses are paid huge sums of money that are out of proportion to the importance of the work that they do. The questions are, how far do you agree? And what criteria should be used to decide how much people are paid? So, how do we deal with this type? Ignore how far. Just like we ignore to what extent. They essentially have the same meaning. So just say whether you agree or disagree, and then you provide the criteria used to decide how much people are paid. So um, basically, I will upload some videos about the details of how to deal with each type of essay, opinion on non-opinion, and then the combination of opinion and non-opinion. But this video is fully intended to provide you some backgrounds of the essay types. So in relation with that, in relation to that, you basically you have to write 4 paragraphs in essay writing as writing task 2. First is the introduction. Second one is the body paragraph. The second paragraph is where you provide with your own opinion, whether you agree or disagree with something, and then the third paragraph you explain whether you disagree. I mean the counter idea the counter idea to the previous paragraph. So if the second paragraph you agree, in the third paragraph, you write you disagree the counter ideas of the second paragraph, okay? And then the fourth paragraph is where you provide the conclusion of your essay. So in this example, you just write down of course, in the first paragraph is the introduction. The second paragraph, um, you can explain whether you agree or disagree. In the third paragraph, you can explain the criteria that should be used to decide how much people are paid. And in the fourth paragraph, you explain the conclusion. Okay? So that's the opinion essay. Let's discuss the non-opinion essay. There are some variations to the non-opinion essay. Uh, in this slide, I just give you one of the many examples, which is the advantage and disadvantage type. So let me read the example for you. The development of tourism has contributed to English becoming the most prominent language in the world. Some people think that this will lead to English becoming the only language to be spoken globally. The question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages to having one language in the world? So essentially, we only have to write our essay based on the question. Explain the advantages. In the second paragraph, you explain the advantages. In the third paragraph, you explain the disadvantages. And also do not give your opinion because you are not asked to give opinion, okay? And there are some variations to this type. First of all, we already saw earlier the advantages and the disadvantages, and then it can also be identifying how, what, or why to something. For example, some people consider computers to be more of a hindrance than a help. Others believe that they have greatly increased human potential. The question is, how could computers be considered a hindrance? So in this type, we just have to explain why or how could computers, what makes people think that it is a hindrance, not a help. So it is as simple as that. And then the third variation is identifying cause and solution. For example, after serving their first prison time, a lot of offenders commit even more crimes. The question is, or the questions are, why is this happening? That's the cause. You have to give explanation. You can the reason behind this. In the second paragraph, you can write this down, and then the second part of the question is, what are the means to overcome this issue? What are the solutions to deal with this issue? You can write down the solutions or the means in the third paragraph. And then the fourth paragraph, we can provide the conclusion. Okay, the fourth variation is discuss both sides. Let me read the example. While some people think that the problem with education in poor countries is the teaching methodology used, others believe that the real issue is the lack of resources. The question is, discuss both sides. So this is as simple as providing two sides of idea. So in the second paragraph, you can explain why some people think that the problem with education in poor countries is the teaching methodology used, and then in the third paragraph, you explain the lack of resources as the real issue. Okay, so that's for the opinion essay, and then the last type is the combination of opinion and non-opinion. Computers are being used more and more in education. Some people say that this is a positive trend, while others argue that it is leading to negative consequences. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. So essentially, it is comprising of two of the previous types of essay, the non-opinion and opinion. Discuss both sides is the non-opinion, and give your opinion is the opinion type. So how to deal with this is that first explain both arguments and uh, choose an idea that you think it is better and explain why. So in writing this kind of essay, after writing the introduction in the first paragraph, in the second paragraph you write down the positive trends, and then in the third paragraph you explain the negative trends or the negative consequences, and then in the last paragraph choose an idea that you think is better, okay, and explain why. Provide your own argument. um, and actually you can either write down a conclusion, or you can also not write it down. It's okay. But if you have time, you can write down the conclusion. But uh, if you're running out of time, no, you don't have to do that. But these are the two things that you have to do in dealing with this type of essay. Okay, so thank you for watching, and see you in other videos of Simple IELTS.